This is In Touch with Terri, a power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetics industry.
I just discovered your podcast, and I feel like I've hit a gold mine.
This is someone who's got a lot of knowledge. She's been there, done that.
Terri Ross is a former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, founder and co-CEO of Apex Platform, and Terri Ross Consulting.
Just listening to her energy and her passion and just how hardcore she is.
Her knowledge of the industry and just her connections in general are phenomenal.
In Touch with Terri will bring you solutions to increase operational and employee efficiency and practice profitability. Plus, feature some of the top industry experts as guests.
The Apex team literally changed the game for us.
Terri, your courses and your podcast are just so helpful.
She made me feel like I could do this.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Now, here's Terri.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Touch with Terri, where I share industry trade secrets, best practices, in addition to some vulnerable stuff about me, which is what we're going to cover today. Sharing life experiences from incredible industry experts in the aesthetic space, all with the intention and the purpose to help support you so that you guys can see things in a different way and that will ultimately help your practices thrive. I literally am shocked. I can't believe it that we are kicking off season 8, episode 82. It's crazy. It's crazy that we've come this far. You guys are my tribe. You're my family. You're my why and you're my purpose. So for those of you that have perhaps just found me or have recently tuned in, I just want to remind you there are, 82 episodes for you guys to go back and binge watch, if you want me in your pillow talk ear at night of the things I have to say, but a lot of great information. Again, you guys are the reason I do this. Your feedback, your unconditional support allows me to continue this podcast and do it with so much love because of the information that you are requesting of me. So to kick off season 8, I really wanted it to be something special. And I hope that for everyone listening, I say this often, that if you are in the aesthetic space, and even if you're not, and you're working or you own a business or you're a parent, you are an entrepreneur. You're not just a doctor or a medical provider. You are an entrepreneur that owns a business. And this podcast is really dedicated to each and every one of you. And it's about my personal entrepreneurial journey. And I want to share 7 lessons that I've learned along the way that I hope hit home with you, resonate with you. So I really do invite you to, sit with this, be present, put your phones down, grab a glass of wine, whatever it is that is rocking your boat right now, so that we can be on this journey together. And again, I'm so honored and grateful to have this opportunity. So sometimes I wish we could all be together in a room, pouring a glass of wine, sharing our stories personally, face to face, our wins, our losses, our challenges. It's hard to do. We're in our practices, we're with our families, we're with our kids, we have busy lives, but it is important to recognize that it's not all rainbows and sunshine, even if it appears that way on the outside. And I know that there's a lot of things we all face, including myself, where we have to, really kind of pinch ourselves every day and be grateful for what we have and recognize that, happiness, and my producer and I were talking about this, is really about purpose. It's not about money. It's not about some superficial things. It really is the why behind what we do and the purpose and the intention. And mine comes from this fire, this gut, feeling that I really just want to help people. And I think when you're a mother too, and I'm a single mom, and we'll talk about that as well, it's hard, but I really want to just lead by example. So I want to have a heart to heart. Again, I want to talk about honest, real world challenges, the day-to-day that we have to go through. And then again, I want to share some top lessons with you that I have learned along the way in my journey. Lesson 1, adaptability. As an entrepreneur, being adaptable, being a leader is key. And I love the expression, the power of the pivot. It's the only thing constant that seems to change. And as entrepreneurs, we have to constantly be able to adapt to changing circumstances, the market conditions, your employees, staff turnover, revenue, unexpected challenges. Recently, many of you who've been in our tribe, I lost my operations director who was with me for over 3 years from the beginning when we were incubating Apex. And, it left kind of this very gaping hole in my heart, not just personally, but professionally. And while I am elated for him to move on and find new opportunities, trying to fill someone of his caliber that was with me day to day, in and out, sitting in front of me, traveling with me, it's been difficult. It's been no easy task to fill those shoes. But I've had to really remain flexible and look at the rest of my team, divide and conquer the initiatives that he was working on or all the hats that he wore. And I've had to. I can't be woe is me, and nor as a leader or an entrepreneur or a single mom can I say that I can do it all on my own. And that's part of one of the challenges that I internally face, is that leaders do delegate, and trusting of others is really important. So to me, adaptability really just means it's your power over resistance. It's easy for our minds to tell us we won't and we can't and it's too hard. But I really want you to ask yourself, what is it costing you if you remain the same? Think about that for a minute. If you want something different, it's these 1% small changes that you do every day that lead to an exponential change. So lesson 1, adaptability. Lesson 2 is resilience. And when I launched Apex platform, oh my God, you guys, I was entering into an entirely new arena, the SaaS world. Don't laugh at me. I didn't even know what SaaS meant. Isn't that funny? I can laugh at myself. And for those of you that don't know either, it's software as a service. And I remember sitting with a friend who is my original investor and in private equity and owned 15 different SaaS companies. And this is June of May, 2020, right after COVID, or in the middle of it, I should say. And I got really, really sick. And I thought, God, what is going to happen to my consulting business? I was nervous. I was scared. I did question, I'm like, how am I going to pay my bills? And I'm not speaking at conferences anymore. And who's going to want to hire me? And I can't go out and train practices. And ironically, the business grew 70%. I couldn't keep the capacity. And I think what it forced medical aesthetic practices to do was look at their books. It allowed me back to the purpose and the why about what I was doing at Terri Ross Consulting and working with these practices and teams to help them identify areas of opportunity. But I went from running this successful consulting company to building a technology platform, investing money in something that was new for me that I had to figure out and learn, raising capital, seeking investors. And you really have to have thick skin with a deep, deep, burning desire and belief in yourself at all times that your intention and your purpose is to set out for something far bigger and greater than yourself. You have to be able to face rejection, failure. It's never failure, right? It's always a learning opportunity and setbacks. And then you have to learn how to bounce back and keep going despite adversity. So the vital lesson I've learned along the way is that resilience is paramount to your success. And again, what you believe in. Lesson 3, establishing a positive team culture. Everyone knows on my team. And if you don't, I hope that you're listening, that there is no I in team. I would not be here without every single one of you. And so if you want a loyal team, it's important to lead by example with a level of integrity and communication and trust. And that is a collaborative effort, that you're doing something that is transformational for your team. And I am so proud that I've assembled a dynamic team, that we built the Apex team from the ground up. And one thing that I pride myself on is always recognizing, again, the individuals that are contributing to the growth of not just myself, but to all of our amazing clients who trust in us. It's praising them, it's valuing them, it's acknowledging them for their hard work and dedication and the time and the commitment that they put in. This is not a job. This is not a job. This is an opportunity to be part of, again, something bigger than yourselves. And so when you're thinking about your work and your role and your contribution, how do you feel valued? And making sure that you're surrounded by the right people and the right team and the right leadership that is going to be collaborative and transformational so that you get the most out of your career, that you have a career path, and that this is the way you build trust and loyalty and a positive team culture. Because I often say on stage, your team is your greatest asset, but your biggest expense. And so we have no choice but to take the time. And it sounds silly, but go back, really identify your mission, your vision, your values, your why. Where is the career path? How are you training them? How much do you invest in their role? How do you hold them accountable? And how do you coach them up or coach them out? And that is the only way to do that, or else we have to take a look at ourselves and say, well, wait a minute, did I do the best job that I could for my people? So your team and your culture is lesson 3, and it's so critical to have a successful organization. Lesson 4, networking matters. We all don't have to be as extroverted as I think that I am, but your network is your net worth. Who you surround yourself with, your friends, your family, the people that are going to rise you up. Building and maintaining a strong network of professionals can open doors to opportunities, partnerships that you never thought could, be imaginable, where they're able to provide sounding boards to you, good or bad, and offer great advice. I have always been someone to raise my hand where there are things I didn't know. And I have always had to work that much harder being a female in a very dominated male space at the time to prove my worth and to prove that I could grow and lead teams and deliver exponential results for a company where you earn respect and trust of others. And so I have always invested in myself, in coaches, in books, in courses, and surrounding myself with industry leaders. More importantly, all of my clients out there, the tribe, there are no words. There really are no words for the love and the support that I get from each of you about what we do. It brings me to tears. So I've said it earlier, Sloan, my daughter, she's my why. You are my why too, but the networking really matters. So if that's something that you think you need to work on, please reach out. Think about who's, again, around you that can help you get from where you are today to where you want to be. Lesson 5, continue to learn, push yourself. There's no glass ceiling of education. John Wooden, famous coach, always says, it's when you think you know it all is when you start to learn. And the business landscape is always evolving. It's always changing. So how are you staying informed, being educated, learning from industry trends, perhaps acquiring a new skill, going all in? We want something different. And if you want something different, whether that's more revenue, more consultations, a treatment plan, more time with your family, more money, to take a day off, to go on a trip, whatever it is, it's not the goal. It's not the end game. It's the steps in between. James Clear, the book Atomic Habits, please, I invite you to read it. What are the little steps that you are going to take along the way that are going to get you from where you are today? Because it is that mind chatter that is telling you, it is that resistance to change, saying that it's fine the way that it is, or we're super busy, we're booked out. I say it often, it doesn't mean being profitable. But how do you continue to push yourself? We started our 4S Summit, the aesthetic success that we just came off of, and people there were from Costa Rica, from South Africa. A woman said she flew in just for a day to see us. And so that, I want you to, again, push yourselves to realize that your ability to learn is what is going to take you much further in your life. Lesson 6, time management. Gosh, I really need work in this department. As entrepreneurs, as a single mom, so for parents out there, we wear many hats. And learning time management skills is so vital. I'm not that great at it still, but I work very hard at trying to prioritize my tasks. Delegating is an effective thing that you must do. And I used to think that time blocking was just too structured and too rigid for me. But, literally, it's the only way to function. I mean, for me, I literally travel about 2 weeks out of the month. I'm living on a plane or in a hotel, constant conference calls, running a company, managing a team, speaking, teaching, training. It's hard to juggle. And then my daughter, right, when she's out of school and her homework and her sports, I know you guys can all resonate with what I'm saying. And you're like, holy shit, that's me. I get it. It's hard. And what I want you to do is just recognize that time blocking, there's a purpose to that, and it's valuable so that you can not, like me, I try to do multitasking is like the most unproductive thing you can do. And again, I've had to work really hard, but it allows you to set time in your calendar where you can be on those corporate calls, network, be creative, right? Develop new content, because that has allowed me, again, you guys, to deliver more episodes like this, more content for you to learn. So time blocking actually is going to create more freedom for you. And lesson 7, you guys know I love my number 7s. I always teach in 7s, but lesson 7 is your work-life balance. This is another area for me. It's hard. I think when we are overachievers, it's hard to sometimes prioritize the things that matter. A friend said to me once, this is when I worked in my corporate life. I traveled all the time. I had 22 states. I do now, but it was in a different environment. And she's like, Terri, it's great. You're traveling, you're in all these great fancy places and you're making great money, but you're never home and we never see you. And I will literally never forget it. It really hit home. And, it affects your personal relationships, which you can't afford to do. We have to take time to date, to be present with our kids. And you guys know, because you've seen me bring Sloan. I mean, she's on the YouTube channel. She's done podcasts with me. She comes to the conferences. She's running around, passing out business cards on my behalf. And there's no greater reward than to, as I mentioned earlier, lead by example, to see your little girl saying, Mommy, I just want to be like you. But that work-life balance, it's hard. And when you want to give so much to your clients, I love it. That's what moves my soul, the training and the teaching and the speaking. But I've also realized that if I am burning myself to the ground, or I'm not being a good mom, or I'm not serving you, I'm not good to anybody. So self-care is really important. So I make a very intentional effort to be present in what I'm doing, again, to lead by example despite the challenges. And what I'm always going to go back to is write down, why do you get up every day? Who in your life is your mentor that motivates you? What is the purpose of your career, of your relationship? Because when you find the thing that you love, and I tell Sloan this, she's 10, but when you are passionate about something, it moves you, it motivates you, that you are unstoppable and relentless in the efforts that you put into it, that your mission to be the best that you can, again, it's not about money and it's not about superficial things. It's about contributing to others. It will return to you in spades. Work is important. It's fulfilling, but please carve out time for fun with your family, because tomorrow is not promised to anybody at the end of the day. So all we have is today. Nobody ever in their life was on their deathbed wishing, oh my God, I worked more hours and I wish I would have done that. So I just shared with you the 7 lessons of my journey as a single mom, as a female business owner, and 7 lessons that I think are really critical. And I'm just going to repeat them back. It's number 1, adaptability, resilience, having a positive team culture, networking, your community, your ability to always push yourself and learn, time management skills, and work-life balance. God, that felt really good just to say it, to share it, to get it out. I hope that this will sit with you and resonate with you, that maybe it hit home for you. And I'm here for you. I want to be your mentor. I want to work with you. I want to have the opportunity to have a drink with you and be friends with you. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this podcast, In Touch with Terri. You know, it comes from my heart deep down. I appreciate your time, you listening, you tuning in, you sharing, you leaving a comment, and listening to a bit of my truth and honesty. So if you'd like to stay updated on all of our upcoming events, where I'm going to be speaking, the Apex platform new releases, industry news, updates, I do invite you to visit apexplatform.com or Terri Ross Consulting. And as always, please share you guys this podcast, leave me a note and some feedback. This is what helps me continue to strive for you guys. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. And I'll see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terri. Ciao, guys.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terri. We invite you to schedule a discovery call with our Apex team. The link to apexplatform.com can be found in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terri.